Hey, mind hackers. So this video, I'm going to talk about failure. We're going to have a chat about failure and probabilities. We'll probably talk about that. So there's an article that I got here. I got this nearly 7 years ago. I got this article, and it's 10 surprising facts about failure. It was on, I think it was on a website, Psychology Today. So it's research into what happens when people fail. Okay. And obviously, one of the problems we have in Forex trading is you will fail because you will lose a trade. You will, over your trading career, you will lose several trades. It's a bit like people that are addicted to food when they go on sort of weight loss programs. They have to have, right, the thing that they're addicted to survive. They need to eat still. And that's one of the problems that come up in that area. If you are a Forex trader and you want to earn a good living, grow a pension pot, grow some savings or whatever by trading, you need to trade, and yet you will fail because you will lose some trades. So in NLP, I'll save that because that's the good stuff. I'll save it till last. I'll link to the article below this video, assuming it's still online, actually. I suppose it will be. I ought to be able to find that. But let me go through and you'll understand what failure, when you lose one trade even, is doing to you and why it can upset things moving forward. Right, so it says it's not whether you fail or why that matters, it's how you react to it. Fact number one, failure makes the same goal seem less attainable. In one study, people kicked an American football over a goalpost in an unmarked field and then estimated how far and high the goalpost was. People who failed estimated the goalpost, can't talk, as being further away and higher than those who succeeded. In other words, failure automatically distorts your perceptions of your goals, right? So they seem less attainable. So when you lose a trade, you are going to naturally, your bias will be towards, well, it's actually really, really hard. You might have lost that trade for no fault of your own. It could have been a new spike or something like that, all right? Fact number, I'm like I say, I'm not going to read it word for word. I'll link to the article. Fact number two, failure also distorts your perceptions of your own abilities. Okay, so it makes you question yourself. Number three, failure makes you believe you're helpless. One of the most common and strongest feelings people have after failing is helplessness. Failure causes an emotional wound. Your mind responds to this wound by trying to get you to give up so it doesn't get wounded again. Interesting, right? So your natural response will be, if I give up, I can't lose again. And this is why people quit. That would make brilliant traders. This is why people quit. Number five, fear of failure often leads to unconscious self-sabotaging. Guys, I see this again and again and again. I've done it myself. One of the most common ways people try to buffer themselves against the pain of future failure is by self-handicapping, creating excuses and situations that can justify why they failed, like going to a party the night before an exam and claiming they were tired or hungover, developing psychosomatic symptoms such as headaches and stomach aches that make it hard to concentrate, or magnifying a small crisis such as the need to spend 2 hours on the phone with an upset friend to justify why they were unable to prepare for a job interview. These kinds of behaviors often turn into self-fulfilling prophecies because they sabotage your efforts and increase your likelihood of failure. Another reason you need to recognize such unconscious fears is that, fact number six, fear of failure can be transmitted from parents to children. It's not really relevant to us in the trading world, so I'll skip by that one. Number seven, the pressure to succeed increases performance anxiety and causes choking. Absolutely. If you are coming into this and this is like your only way out, if this is your only option, that is putting an undue amount of pressure on yourself that subconsciously has to do something, right? Consciously, you might be fine, but subconsciously, it has to do something. If that is you and you haven't gone for a funded account, go for a funded account, right? You can take free trials with FTMO many times as you want, okay, to prove you can do it. And then we can help get you over any hurdles that you come up with when you go for the live one. But if you're trying to compound a small account, guys, why would you want to lengthen the amount of time it takes when there's another option, when there's funded accounts available? It seems crazy to me that people don't do that. Right. A great way to overcome choking is to whistle or mutter. By whistling or muttering quietly while you're taking a shot, bowling, pitching, singing, or trading, whatever it is, and focusing on the task itself, you're stealing just enough attentional resources from your brain to prevent it from overthinking and correcting something. Good tip. Okay, whistle while you trade. Willpower is like a muscle. We know that. Willpower, the best description that works is, that I heard is, it works on points. You have so many points, or it could be like points in a bank, say, willpower bank. And as you use your willpower, you're spending your willpower points or your coins until you've got nothing left, right? And number 10, the psychologically healthiest response to failure is to focus on variables in your control, right? So focusing on things in your control. What can you control in the world of trading? You can control your lot size. You can control your risk management. You can control the strategy that you choose. You can control how much you practice that strategy. You can choose how many other strategies you look at. These are things in your control. You can keep a journal of your trades. I recently went through a spell where most of my losses were coming from gold. I cut gold out of my trading, and guess what? My account grew faster because I wasn't trading the thing that was costing me most losses. That is all under your control. That's the good news, isn't it? Now, I said I'd save the best till last. In NLP, we have presuppositions, they're called. These are things that we suppose to be true, even if they're not ultimately, but they serve us. And one of the things that we say is there is no such thing as failure, there is only feedback. So when you lose a trade, you shouldn't have lost because you should have gained experience. You should have something you can learn from. And if you did everything right and it still went wrong, then that's just trading for you guys. That's just one of the ways it goes sometimes. But you should have had proper risk management, so you shouldn't really be an issue. If you're only risking 1% of your account, you will not blow an account risking 1%. You would have to lose so many trades in a row, it's unreal, right, to get your account down to zero. So you can control your risk. Okay, these are things that you can do. So you take the trade, there is no such thing as failure, only feedback. The loss gives you the chance to look for the feedback. What do I learn from this? Okay, so get inquisitive rather than emotional about losing the trade. Get inquisitive. What happened? What went wrong? What can I do? Okay, get inquisitive. So there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. Now, the other thing I want you to think about, number one, is if you lose 3 trades in a row, what is your chance of winning the next trade? It's increased, right? No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Every trade is an individual trade, right? Every trade is an individual trade, and you have to treat them that way. Every trade is an individual trade. Treat it that way. The basis of whether I'm going to win or trade that I'm taking now has nothing to do with all the trades that I took before, in reality. If you're following the same strategy and the same rules, the only variable might be experience. But as long as you're following the same strategy, if you have a trading plan or a checklist or whatever for your trading, if you follow that, the chance of you winning the trade is just purely that trade. That's all we're looking at, that probability of that one. If I lose 10 trades in a row, I'm not more likely to win the next one, right? That each of them are an individual thing. Now, if you take that in mind and you get stressed when you lose trades, and I'm sure we all do that sometimes. Russell Brand, you know Russell Brand? He's on basically online now, I think more on YouTube, but you know, he's been in films and he's a comedian, he's quite well known. But if you know Russell Brand, he had to go and present an award on TV in front of millions of people, and he was freaking out. He was really nervous, and he contacted a guy over here called Paul McKenna, who's top hypnotist. He's an NLP practitioner as well. I've actually trained with Paul, not hypnosis, NLP, but he so Russell Brand contacted Paul, and he said, I'm freaking out, I've got to go out, millions of people, I don't know what I'm going to do. So Paul McKenna just said to him this. He said, if you look at your life, if you look at your whole life from when you were born, however long, you know, into the future, hopefully you're going to live a long life, how long is that bit of stepping out onto that stage in front of those millions of people? In reality, how long out of your whole life, what percentage is that? And Russell Brand was like, well, hardly anything. Paul McKenna said, exactly. Why would you want to get stressed about losing a trade? Why would you want to get stressed about losing a trade, right? You're only stressed because you're thinking about what the money could do for you, probably, what you could potentially do with the money if you had won or if you hadn't lost it. Money doesn't think anything of you. The markets don't think anything of you. If you actually look at it like that, you've got plenty of chance in your lifetime to win that money back and more. And if you treat it as feedback rather than failure, okay, if you treat it as feedback rather than failure, then you will get better. And the money that you, if you've got a $100 account and you lose 10% of it, which you shouldn't do with proper risk management, if you lose 10% of it, it's $10. As your account grows, you get to the point where you've got a $1,000 account, right? And you make 10% of that, right? That's $100, right? So not only have you learned something by failing, by losing a trade, that is only a small pinpoint of your life that you shouldn't be emotional about, because really, you know, you're going to lose some trades anyway. And as long as you learn from it, you're going to get better. And as you get better, your account's going to grow, or you're going to get a funded account where you'll laugh at losing $10, or you'll laugh at losing $1,000, or you'll laugh at losing $10,000 as your account grows. You see, most people don't, what I call, play the movie to the end. If you watch the film Titanic, it's about a very pleasant cruise on a luxury liner. If you just play it halfway through, that's what the film's about. You have to play it to the end to deal with all the sinking and stuff. Depends where you stop the movie, obviously, right? Okay. If you play it to a certain point, oh, there's no way anybody can get out of that. There's not enough lifeboats. Everybody's, you know, most people are going to drown, right? And, you know, the lead character, Kate Winslet, whatever her name was, she must have died. You have to play the movie to the end, right? To know your life is like a movie. You haven't played it to the end yet. So you never know. So just a few thoughts about failure there. The NLP thing is, there is no such thing as failure. You can't fail. That's what I love about trading. You win the trade and you learn, or you lose the trade, but you've learned. You've gained something by losing a trade. That's the way I look at it. Not to say I don't get frustrated sometimes, because I'm human. But in actual fact, I don't get very frustrated now about losing a trade. It's just the way it is. I might get frustrated with myself sometimes if I don't follow the rules, but that's another matter. Right, see you on the next video. Hope you got value. See you later.